Three things guaranteed in life, that is death, taxes and Josh Daly uploading the Pep tactic. And today we are going to have Pep's 4-3-3 with Manchester City and his previous teams that he has managed. It absolutely cooks a possession, fast-paced tiki-taka style, obviously featuring the libero and the inverted roles, as you love to see. If you guys do enjoy the tactics on this channel, be sure to leave a like, drop a little subscription, and also leave a comment on any manager or rebuild you want to see next. But let's get into the tactic testing phase, and let's just see how good this really is. So first up, we're going to get the current team out the way. That is going to be Manchester City, where we actually won 6 trophies in one season. There is a certain word for that. If I remember, that'll be in the title. But we actually do win the Club World Championship, the Champions League against FC Bayern, the Super Cup against Sevilla, the Premier Division against everyone, the Carabao Cup against Arsenal, and the FA Cup against bitter rivals Manchester United. We scored 95 goals and conceded just 24. Well, it is going to be Erling Haaland picking up 93 goals across all competitions and picking up a 7.87 highest average rating. Jack Grealish comes in with 31 assists, while Ederson picks up a very strong 97% pass completion. In terms of the league, we actually won 29 out of a potential 38 games, drawing 5 against Villa, Brighton, Brentford, West Ham and Liverpool, some good teams in there, and our 4 losses come against Wolves, United and Newcastle and Arsenal. So again, a couple of big teams there. The only real disappointment would be against Wolves, in my opinion, and maybe Newcastle, and maybe United, actually, judging from this season. Arsenal, always a bit of a tricky game, but overall, I'm going to take it and move on because it's a very, very, very perfect season, apart from the Community Shield. Going over to the team stats, we are going to feature in almost all of them. Most points per game at 2.42. The most goals coming in at 95, 15 more than second place Liverpool. Most shots at over 600 at 622. The fewest shots against at 214. An outstanding amount of possession at 64%, which is really, really rare to see in the Premier League, the hardest league in the world to maintain the ball, and we have done a very good job at that. The fewest conceded coming in at 24, which is quite a fair few less conceded than the likes of Arsenal and Tottenham, who pick up second and third place. And the most clean sheets coming in at 23, again, quite a big lead over second place Arsenal and third place Chelsea. Going over to the data hub, we are going to be looking at 2.5 bang on goals per game. With this tactic, guys, you're not going to score 5-6 goals a game, anything crazy. It's a very patient build-up play tactic, and what you are going to have is lots of the ball, a great pass completion at 90%, a 79.32% tackle win ratio, one of the more composed tactics I'm going to deliver on this channel, 0.63 conceded, and over 16.3 shots per game. So really good stats, but it's not going to be a massive goal scoring tactic, but it is going to be a massive winning tactic. Going over to the squad, we are going to see, I mean, honestly, Erling Haaland with 93 goals, 19 for De Bruyne, 16 for Nunes, 16 for Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden with 13, 10 for Ruben Diaz, Jack Grealish with 8, 8 for Kovacic as well, Alvarez with 5, a nice mixture of players really getting involved with the goals, and we can say the same for the assists. I mean, Jack Grealish with 31, Bernardo Silva with 27, 23 obviously coming in for Phil Foden, Nunes with 21, only, and I say only because it is De Bruyne, but remember, he's injured at the start of the season. Then it's also 9 for Haaland, so a ridiculous outlet from the entire Man City team. A fantastic season. What a start to the testing. We also enjoyed a fantastic season with his previous team, Barcelona, where, again, very, very impressive, not only in the Spanish division, but also won the Europa League against Marseille. Obviously, not a great display in the Champions League, but we couldn't have won the Champions League anyway, physically, because we did test with all of the teams on one game save file. We also won the Spanish Super Cup against Atletico Madrid, while unfortunately we failed to win the Spanish Cup against Real Madrid. In terms of the league stats, though, we are going to feature being the best in 3 of them, picking up 0 red cards, 21 goals conceded, which is a very good stat line, and 87 goals scored. A big part of the goals scored is going to be none other than Robert Lewandowski, picking up 41 goals, while it is going to be Rafinha contributing with 22 assists, Araujo picking up the highest average rating, and it is going to be Penna picking up a 99% pass completion. Now, going over to some of these stats, we are going to actually see, so we won 30 out of potential 38 games. We drew 4 games, which you can see here is going to be against Real España, Atletico Madrid, Bilbao, and also Alaves. And also the losses coming in is going to be against Madrid. We don't like to see that. Getafe, Valencia, and Celta Vigo. But still, a very, very good season, and one we can be certainly proud of. Team stat-wise, we are going to feature in almost all of them again. Most points per game at 2.47. The most goals at 87, 6 more compared to bitter rivals Real Madrid. Over 590 shots at 509 197. The fewest shots against at 199. Most possession coming in at 63%, 2% more than Real Sociedad in second place. And obviously a bit of a gap to Atletico Madrid in third place. Fewest conceded are going to be 21, so quite a big gap between us and Real Sociedad. And also, the most clean sheets coming in at 22. Going over to the data hub, we are going to go and have a little look at 2.29 goals per game, so a little bit less than obviously what we scored with Manchester City, but we haven't got Erling Haaland or De Bruyne or Jack Grealish. 0.55 conceded per game, so still very defensively solid. Just over 15 shots a game at 15.71. Pass completion looks as good as ever at 90.56. And attacker win ratio coming in of 78.28. A really good second season in the second team tested in this tactic test. And lastly, and actually a really challenging season because Leipzig clearly turned up. We actually went over and tested with Bayern Munich. Again, one of former Pep's teams. Whenever we test with a manager, I like to use the teams he has managed because it makes the video more personal about that manager. So this is designed technically for powerhouses, but it is a 4-3-3. It probably can be used with any team, to be honest with you. We win the Bundesliga and the Pokal, making it a double win in season. Unfortunately, RB Leipzig did have our number in the pre-season German Super Cup. We scored 93 goals in the league and conceded only 25. Starman Harry Kane picks up 32 goals across all competitions, while it is going to be Leroy Sané doing a double, picking up a 7.46 highest average rating and picking up 23 assists across all competitions, while Manuel Neuer, the old school ball-playing goalkeeper, with 98% pass completion. Going over to the league, not as many games won, but still got the job done. Didn't mean to rhyme, but we're going to take it. We actually win the league on goal difference, quite a big amount of goal difference. We do draw 2 games here against Borussia Dortmund and also Mainz, both 1-1s. And we do lose 6 games against Leipzig, who we lost to Leipzig twice, actually, so they've done a double over us. They were really on fire this season. Frankfurt and also Stuttgart, and Frankfurt done a double as well. It's the double of the doubles, but it doesn't matter. We got the job done. Again, the Champions League, we can't really judge it fairly because we played ourselves, which sounds really weird, but we did play ourselves. Team stat-wise, we are going to feature in, wow, quite a fair few of them. Possession-wise, this is ridiculous. 65% possession, a fairly consistent would be 64 to 65% of the ball you're going to get with a team like this. Pass completion at 91%, over 540 shots, only 197 shots against us, 93 goals scored, which is ridiculous amounts of goals, and 2.35 actually tied with RB Leipzig, obviously joint top of the table. It's going to be a joint first prize. Going over to the data hub, we are going to go and look at 2.74 goals per game, the most we have scored. Conceded 0.74, meaning we have got a perfect 2-goal lead, so what we are going to be conceding, just over by 0.9, 16 shots per game, an 80.7 tackle win ratio, and a 91.13% pass completion. That is 3 incredible sets of results. Yes, they are with big teams. It is a Pep tactic, so that is what you expect. Can you use it with smaller teams? I would like to say yes. Let me know in the comments how you do, but let's go and watch some of the highlights because we clearly cooked everyone. The FA Cup final is going to be up first against Manchester United, where the game was actually really quiet until towards the end. 105 minutes, great pass and play to finally get it into De Bruyne, and when he's on the edge of the box, that's going to be a goal, and it was a fantastic finish past Onana. Nothing he could do about that one. And another goal coming in before the 109th minute. Erling Haaland, a great bit of direct play there. A decent first save from Onana. No one to sort of block the deflection, and Kovacic picks up the second goal. What a win. We're going to humble the B-Tech Manchester City and Arsenal in a 4-1 win in the Carabao Cup final. Got off to a fairly lively start after the second half whistle. De Bruyne getting his goal there in the 48th minute. Another goal coming in inside of 57 minutes here. Bernardo Silva driving inside and tucking it past Raya into the bottom left-hand corner. They do get a goal back here, to be fair to them. A great set piece. Can't really knock it. A good give and go between Havertz and Nketiah, who just tucks it past. But Manchester City, we don't fall asleep. We kill off any game. We really do. I did switch to the attacking variant, by the way, at this part of the game, just to make that very clear. Nunes over to Phil Foden, who's going to drive into De Bruyne, and it's like you can literally drag the ball where you want it with this guy. He can score from anywhere on the field. An incredible player. He really is. Nunes out wide into Phil Foden. Tons of space. Haaland bullies his man, goes through and wraps up a 4-1 final. Simple. I've got to give credit to Marseille for getting to the final, but they were never going to beat this Barcelona team in the Europa League. A great ball into the box and an even better header from Araujo right there in a very, very good way to start the final. And we finished it off just before the 90th minute. Gavi just driving at the back line, a bit more of a direct approach, and he actually goes alone. Of course, over to your favourite part of the video, the tactical breakdown. If you're enjoying so far, be sure to leave a like, drop a little subscription, and also leave a comment on what you want to see next. I do want to quickly thank all of the names coming over the screen. We've now got over 1,700 Patreon members, and it's the best place to be. You get over 10 perks to this channel. You get access to all 3 of the tactics on the screen. You get early video, early tactic release. You get priority in the tactic and rebuild requests. You get one-on-one tactical help. I tweak your saves, give you suggestions, whatever you want, and also you've still got time to get in on the giveaway, so be sure to get in on the giveaway. You do not want to miss out on that. The link is going to be below. Go and get involved. But let's go over and talk about these player roles then. So the goalkeeper is going to be a super keeper, simply on the defensive duty. Now we're going to get into some interesting roles. An inverted fullback on the right, the new role of the game, is simply going to be on the default hold position and sit narrower. And then the John Stones. Now, unfortunately, he is injured for part of the save when you first take over Man City, but he does come back relatively quickly, and that is going to be a libero, simply on the supportive instruction. Next to him, to balance it out, we have got a defensive ball-playing defender, simply on the default. And in terms of the left-back, it's going to be an inverted wing-back on support, on cut inside, cross less often, sits narrower, and also roam from position. Now, if you've got a player that can't play this role, you could also use a default wing-back and just tell him to sit narrower. It would work of a similar sort of way, not as influential or as much as a Pep sort of style, but it would work if you haven't got a player that can cover this role. We then go with a deep-lying playmaker, the Rodri, on dribble less and also tackle harder. But one of these, this is a probably role you're going to debate me with, because yes, it might be a DM, but I really like the deep line playmaker in this team, and Rodri does make progressive passes, so he sort of falls into both categories in my opinion, but I can see the argument for a DM. I really can. Going up the field is going to be a roaming playmaker on support, on move into channels, a very good player to have because he is going to cause hell in that midfield, roaming about the field, linking up the play between everyone and really linking up the entire team, to be honest with you. The Mazzala is simply going to be on the default attack. The inside forward on the left is going to be your Jackie Grealish. He's naturally going to be on roam from position, stay wider, and we're going to tell him to shoot more often because he is going to sort of cut inside, and Jack Grealish does love getting a shot off now and then, so therefore shoot more often is going to replicate and represent that style. The inside forward on the right hand side is also going to have one instruction, that is going to be roam from position. Obviously there's a lot of sort of positional play, a lot of roaming about in this team, so that is why you're going to see it selected, especially on these two wide players. And to finish it off, the advanced forward on attack, simply on the default. Now, over to the team instructions, all based off a custom tiki-taka, positive mentality. The width is going to be set to fairly wide. We're going to have an underlap left option for obviously the inverted wing-back role on the left-hand side to really come inside and cause some issues there. We're going to play out from the back because it's the Manchester City way. We all know that by now. We're going to have a shorter passing directness. Again, fairly common sense. I did try the much shorter, but in my opinion, we were having loads more possession. We got up to about 67, sorry, but we weren't having enough shots at the goal, so having it on shorter is the best option in my opinion. We're going to go with slightly higher when it comes to the tempo. We're going to opt for mixed crosses and, as Pep loves to do, work the ball into the box. In transition, we're going to go with counter press. Nothing when possession has been won because we are definitely not going to want to hold the shape. Neither are we going to want to counter attack because we're not classed as a counter attacking team. We're just going to sort of, you know, go back to how we want to play. That very frustrating tiki-taka approach which drains the life out of anyone we play. So leaving it blank is what you need to be doing. We're going to distribute the ball quickly and we're going to play to anyone across the back line with no custom addition to the distribution type. Lastly, out of possession, where all the magic happens, it's going to be rocking with that Pep Guardiola high defensive line, the high press line of engagement, more often on the trigger press, and of course prevent short goalkeeper distribution, because we all know Haaland loves to get an elbow in here and there. He loves it. We also had a great time with Bayern Munich in a 3-0 win in the Pokal final against Wolfsburg. Credit to them for getting to the final. Musiala threw into Kane, a bit scrappy, but we've got to take the goal inside of 52 minutes. Not much happening in the first half, of course. Leroy Sané now down the right-hand side, a bit of a dummy from Thomas Müller into Joshua Kimmich, into Goretzka. Is it just me? Thomas Müller does not age, does he? I swear that guy does not age at all. He's been playing football for ages now. Harry Kane on the left-hand side, into Alphonso Davies, into the middle, a deflection. There's two very scrappy goals there. A bit of me feels sorry for Wolfsburg, but We're Bayern Munich. We need to be winning trophies. I'll also include this absolute stampede against Ajax in a 7-1 win in the second leg of the Champions League semi-finals, I believe this was, or the Europa League, sorry, not the Champions League. I mean, we absolutely tore them apart. It was 8-2 over both legs and 2 set pieces to kick things off. Just showcasing, if you haven't got them already, you need to get the set pieces. 3 set pieces, actually, to get the goals. 2 corners and obviously a penalty. Coming from another one, actually, it's going to be Ferran Torres, plays it back into Rafinha, who's going to drive it back into Pedri. And at this point, they may as well have went home. They were so many goals down, but to be fair to them, they did fight back here with it was quite a good goal, to be fair. A great touch and an even better finish, but even if they would have scored another 2 goals, it would have been no threat at all. Rafinha down the right-hand side, driving at absolutely everybody. Bergwijn doing Bergwijn things, as it is going to be one back and finished by Pedri. And we're going to go again, of course. Christensen playing from the back, playing it into Gundogan, the previous Man City man, through to Lewandowski. First time into the bottom left corner, just doing what he does best, scoring goals. Frankie de Jong out wide into Ferran Torres, who's going to cut it back into Gavi, and we're going to see this so often, guys, especially when you play with the tactic at home. The cutbacks are absolutely mega, as Gavi this time goes alone, but it's always going to be an option. Now, of course, as always, there are going to be an attacking and a defensive variant. The attacking one is to be used, obviously, when you're chasing a game, you're a goal down, etc., etc. Patreons can get all 3 of these in one simple download, so you can check that out in the description, but I do include it in the videos for those that don't wish to do that, and you can simply copy it click for click. So we are going to start off with the goalkeeper, who does change. He's now going to be on a supportive instruction. The inverted wing back obviously changed from the fullback on support, just to make him a little bit more of a progressive option, and that's exactly going to be the same on the left-hand side. In fact, the only other change to this, the ball-playing defender remains the change, but the libero does have a bit of a tweak. He is going to be on dribble more, and this comes down to whether your player is somewhat got it in his locker, basically. John Stones has. John Stones can drive up the field, but of course, if you're playing in a team where you can't even really feature a libero, this goes for the default tactic as well. Just play 2 ball-playing defenders and it will be completely fine. But if you can, and you've got a player that's a bit confident on the ball, having dribble more on is a real sweet treat. In the middle, a deep-lying playmaker is going to come in on support, on dribble less, and also tackle harder. We've gone for a box-to-box because I want someone that is really going to get further forwards and get stuck in. And he's going to be on dribble more, get further forwards, and also move into channels. The Mazzala remains unchanged. The inside forward on the left remains unchanged, as does the right, but with one additional instruction, should I point out. He's also going to be shoot more often. Again, very dependent on your team. If you've got 2 wingers that have got great finishing, I'd have this on anyway, to be honest. But if you haven't, then don't have shoot more often on. Anything over 13 finishing, I would say is fairly reasonable to have on. So on this one, I simply had it on both because we had Grealish and Bernardo Silva, 2 players that can shoot. It made complete sense. And to finish it off, the advanced forward, who remains untouched. Instruction-wise, we are going to see a bit of a change, so the mentality is going to go up to attacking. We're going to pass the ball into space now, while underlapping left. We're still going to play out from the back because that is the Pep Guardiola way. The directness and the tempo remains unchanged, and we are going to go with the be more expressive because we are trying to let the players be more expressive, so let's not restrict what they're trying to do. Transition, it remains unchanged. And lastly, out of possession, we've now gone for the much higher defensive line and we've maxed out that trigger press. Now, this is really going to push the team up the field, so it's going to put the other team in a real tricky situation because you are literally going to be in their half and they won't be able to escape. Now, you have got to be careful because you are naturally going to be more vulnerable if they are to get the ball back and counter-attack, but again, this is an attacking variant, so you're not going to go into every game with this tactic, obviously. Only when you're chasing a game, being a goal down or maybe tied up and you're trying to push for a little cheeky win. Of course, when there is an attacking variant, you need a defensive variant as well. And this is what it's going to be. It's the complete package on this channel. So the sweeper keeper is going to be on defend. We're going to go with 2 inverted fullbacks on the left and also the right-hand side, exactly the same as you can see. A ball-playing defender on defend. The libero goes back to being a default. We do not want him dribbling more, especially in a defensive system. We then go with the DM, who is going to be on support, on dribble less, and also tackle harder. A central midfield player with no custom instructions. That is not a misclick. That is how it's meant to be. A Roman playmaker, who is going to be on the default, so no risk taken place in this midfield. And on the right and the left, to default inside forwards as the advanced forward remains unchanged. So a much more composed, less risk-takey sort of midfield and wide players, which is naturally going to dominate more possession, which we're going to get into in one moment. And that's what you're going to see in the team instructions. So the mentality is going to go back to positive. We're going to go to fairly wide, so we're going to drop that down as well. We're still going to underlap left. We're still going to play out from the back. But the real big change is going to be much shorter on that passing directness, match with a slightly lower tempo, and dribble less. These three things here mean for a much more of a possession-based game. Maybe not as attacking, you're not going to score as many goals, you're definitely going to have a lot more possession and frustrate the opposition. And when you're trying to run the clock down, or maybe you're playing as a real low-down team, you're trying to just, endlessly pass it, try and run the clock down, even against some of the bigger teams, this is going to work really, really well, because the passing's very risk-free. You're going to pass it very easily between the three central midfield players and also the wide players and them inverted fullbacks. And we are also going to work the ball into the box. So even the end product is not going to be wasteful at all. Lastly, or not lastly, second to lastly, in transition, it's going to be counter press, nothing selected here or here, and we're going to take short goal kicks to anybody across that back line. And now lastly is going to be 4 out of possession, which is going to be the high defensive line, the high press and line of engagement, slightly more often on that trigger press, and prevent short goalkeeper distribution. And that is going to complete for you guys 3 variants of Pep's 4-3-3 Manchester City, a tactic I've been requested for some time now after the beta version I dropped, a much more updated and realistic approach in my opinion. If you guys have enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like, drop a little subscription, and keep the comments coming on any future tactics or managers or rebuilds, whatever it is, and I'll do my best to get them done. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next upload.